Okay, I am live on here, and I am live on Instagram. Hopefully, I've got a new microphone, so I'm hoping people can hear me on YouTube for this. And also, well, it's just normal audio on Instagram. But today is the release for Way of the Wild. No, I have not dressed up because today is a celebration day, so I have been lazy all day because I deserve to be, because Way of the Wild is out in the world. And yeah, it is all out in the world. Everything is good, everything is joy. That is 2 of my books for the Into the Wild series out in the world, and I can't believe it because it is completely insane to me that I have a whole series out. Well, not a whole series. There is another short story that will soon be arriving later this year, but the 2 main novels are out. Yes, I know when I did the release for Home to the World last year, they said there was going to be a trilogy. There still could be at the end of the day, but it is unlikely at the same time because I really struggled writing the third. But these are the 2 novels with multiple short stories in between as well. The final one of which will be coming out in November. And yeah, sapphic Tarzan, people. Who doesn't want sapphic Tarzan in their life? That's basically all I've got to say here. And I just wanted to come on live to celebrate the release because, firstly, look how incredible this cover is. Show it on Instagram and on YouTube. That's Arthur Bowling III who did this. Very, very amazing cover. Obviously, also did the first one. And yeah, I'm just really happy because I am basically done with the Into the Wild series, which, considering this was the series was conceptualized or whatever in 2015. So it means it's been close to a decade since this series was introduced to to my mind, and is now fully introduced into the world. Yeah, it's insane. It's literally insane to me. And yeah, I'm just I'm just really happy. I am really happy that sapphic Tarzan is in the world. And I want to talk about it. There's not many people on live yet. I realize, even though it's a Saturday, time zones exist. Oh god, time zones exist, and they are difficult. Also, my hair looks terrible. I really should have actually prepared my appearance better. I'm wearing my university t-shirt. I graduated a while ago. Oh, sorry, I've just gotten a comment on Instagram from my editor, Carly, saying I didn't realize that was the end. It wasn't initially. I was still planning on doing a final full novel. And again, I may still do at the end of the day, but for now at least, Way of the Wild, which is what came out today, will be the last novel with a follow-up short story. And we'll have a follow-up short story. But for now, yeah, this is the end for Into the Wild series of novels. But again, never say never, because knowing me, I may come up with something in the end anyway. But yeah, it's been kind of an insane journey writing it. And I've been almost in disbelief since it released today that it's that it actually released, because even though I'm holding the books, both of the books right now, and like us seeing people posting about, hey, happy release day, all this sort of stuff, it still doesn't feel real. And I had that same even with like the debut itself as well, that like obviously in this case I had like so many stresses with the actual release of the first book, which thankfully I did not have with Way of the Wild this time. But it feels surreal that this whole series that I conceptualized when I was 17 is out in the world. It is technically in a conclusion, and all that it came from was a morphine-induced dream about a girl raised by wolves. Oh, question on Instagram. Which book do you like better? How was the writing process different for each? I will say I do like Way of the Wild better, and it is specifically because lesbians. The lesbians are more apparent in the second book than they are in the first. The first has the hints and like the identity themes. Way of the Wild made it like actuality of just like, yes, the lesbians are here, they are here, and they are queer. um and yeah, so definitely liked writing Way of the Wild better. I also think I struggled less with writing Way of the Wild because of the fact that like it just came so much easier to me, the writing of it. I don't know why. It may just be because I was in that case writing from two POVs, and whereas in Home to the Wild, though I did have like other POV characters, it did end up being predominantly from Artemis's perspective in the end, which I do enjoy writing from Artemis's perspective. I love Artemis, but writing from two POV characters more consistently in Way of the Wild, I think just helped the process for writing. It just kind of helped it along a little bit. Yes, the lesbians are here. They are happy to be here. I am happy they are here. And it is why Sapphic Tarzan I can call this the Sapphic Tarzan series now, because it's explicitly the Sapphic Tarzan series now. And I love it because Tarzan is a really good movie. I really enjoy it. It's a great story. It could have been gay. Um, well, the original movie couldn't have been, but I always like, if I can make something gay, I will find a way. And I did. And now it is published. And now you can read the gay Tarzan. And I mean, just like, even just like, oh, I'm just going to show it on Instagram first. This cover is gay. Like, you can't tell me just looking at this that this is not a super gay cover. I mean, you got the giant face of Artemis in the background, you got Jamie searching. It's just the gay vibes are present, um, and consistently so. And so yeah, it's why I enjoyed writing Way of the Wild the most. Um, but it's also kind of why I liked writing this series as a whole, because like there are 3 short stories for this as well. So there was Echoes of the Past, the first one, set before Home to the Wild, Before I Go, which is set after Home to the Wild, and before Way of the Wild. And there will be one set after Way of the Wild that'll be coming out in November. And all those short stories kind of like add to the whole world of it all as well. Love the cover, definitely gonna buy a copy. Thank you. Yes, the cover is brilliant. This is Arthur Bowling's work. He's great. I love his covers. We've also got, I think he's in here. Ran Pakoka is also the cover designer for the short stories. The short story covers are also incredible. I love it so much. If I can make it gay, I will find a way. Put it on a t-shirt. Yes, I will make that into merchandise, because I have indeed made Tarzan gay, and I will continue to find ways to make anything and everything gay. Even the stuff that I'm working on at the moment, but we are talking about gay Tarzan. And yeah, I'm just really, really happy. I'm really happy with how this series has turned out. I'm really happy with just how it ended up. And like I said, like, yeah, Way of the Wild was the one that I really enjoyed writing the most, because the complexities with the relationship. Oh, I think someone sent me an emoji, or they just sent it in chat on YouTube. But I think they were trying to send a heart, but for some reason it didn't appear on on my YouTube thing for some reason. My YouTube's weird. But yeah, it just, sorry, I'm holding them really weird because I want to make them visible both on YouTube and on Instagram. I'm gonna see if I can adjust my camera for YouTube. There we go. Um, and yeah, oh, we got a question from Ran Pacoka, who I was just talking about. They are the cover designer for the short stories. What were your inspirations to create Jamie? Okay, so this won't surprise anyone who, at least here on YouTube as well. Um, Jamie's. So I'm gonna bring the cover closer. So to show it on YouTube first, and then well, no, you guys can both see it. So Jamie's physical appearance is based on Asami from Legend of Korra because I love Legend of Korra. Asami helped me be gay. No, helped me like realize things. And so yes, the aesthetic for Jamie is from Asami, but Jamie's character, specifically like her personality and all those sorts of things, I don't even fully know where I got the inspiration for her, but just always she just kind of actually, you know what it was actually? And it's gonna be because of the wolf theme. And also for the fan cast I put up on Instagram as well. Kira from Teen Wolf, played by Arden Cho, is kind of like Jamie. Like her character is just like, the adorable dork sort of thing who always wants to help. Like that is like Jamie's vibes to a T. She is someone who wants to help. She cares really deeply. She has a complicated relationship with her parents, mainly her dad in the case of Jamie. Um, and she cares about a wolf person. Uh, different context for Teen Wolf because obviously that is a werewolf, and Artemis is not a werewolf. She just was raised by wolves. But yeah, so there's a mixture of Asami's appearance, Kira's personality, and then just kind of little bits of like the different people that I know in my life that kind of inspired Jamie's personality. But the main thing that just kind of like helped me come up with Jamie as a character was just kind of the idea of, how do I want to phrase this? Someone who would do anything to save someone they cared about. Because like obviously this is like a Tarzan reimagining sort of vibes, but I wanted her to kind of be like Jane Porter, but like with extra steps because Jamie puts herself in so much harm's way. Like this girl is just kind of like, yeah, no, it's fine. I may die, but like it's for love. Not that she'll admit it, but but she puts herself into so many dangerous positions because she wants to help. Um, Whereas like I know Jane Porter technically does that in Tarzan, but like not to the same extent of just like if you read the book, you'll know. Jamie does not care for her personal safety. She's like, I need to save the wolf girl and I will do so at my own like at risk to my own safety. And that's the power of lesbians, everyone. Lesbians will do anything. I will say this as a lesbian who is useless and also makes very terrible decisions sometimes, but just all for the power of women. Um, Oh, made you some memes, buddy. Oh, Robert's made me some memes. Shall we look at them? I can't look at them on. Oh God, no, no, no. I nearly exited out of. I'm okay. I can't look at them right now, Robert. I'm so sorry. I'll look at them afterwards, and then I'll share them. But that was a nice question, Ran. I really appreciate that. Um, and I guess in terms, I guess, kind of do a follow up question in relation to my inspirations for Artemis. Um, Maybe is it like it's not ten she wasn't more inspired by Tarzan. If anything, she was kind of less inspired by Tarzan. There were like aspects of it of just like how she interacts with people and how she goes just the fact that she's raised by animals sort of thing. But Artemis, I think for me was kind of more inspired by the idea. How do I phrase this? So reading it back and this is mainly related to the fact that like I got my autism diagnosis and like just the fact that I'm just generally neurodivergent. But like Artemis to me is kind of like I put a lot of my character myself into Artemis in the way in which she interacts with the world. Like, but in a way that I would want to interact with the world more. Like Artemis understands what people need and what people like what people can't say. So she's the sort of person, she's able to read body language so well. She's able to understand when someone needs her closer. She just knows what people need because she knows how to read them. And like obviously with someone who has autism and is neurodivergent, I really struggle with being able to tell, what people need, what people want, because I struggle to read those things from people. So Artemis ended up kind of being like a like not like a wish fulfillment character, but like she has so many skills and abilities that I wish I had, because she is capable of being able to know what someone is thinking just by seeing the way in which they are standing or the way in which they are moving. And like that's very much like the wolf aspect of her. But the reason why I kind of wrote her that way of like she picks up on so much more than like other characters. Like even the other wolf characters don't always pick up on what she's saying. Like the only times that she won't pick up on certain things is when she's deliberately trying to pretend it's not a thing. But I really liked that about her because it's something I desperately wish sometimes as well, of like I wish I could know what another person is thinking or be able to tell when someone is feeling, you know, shit about themselves or feeling just shit about life, or, when they're like extra happy and stuff like that. Just like I want to be able to know what people are thinking and feeling and not struggle. And so I kind of wrote that into Artemis of like I wanted her to have that, but almost to like the nth degree of like she reads so much more into it because of the fact that she is someone who was raised by wolves, and body language is a huge way in which like animals communicate, especially wolves. And I wanted that to be something special about her, that no matter who she's interacting with, no matter what's going on, she knows when someone is feeling a certain way, because that's something I always wanted to be able to have. So Jamie was a character inspired by like some of my favorite characters in TV, with just like a little extra flair of herself. And then Artemis was inspired by like my want and need to be able to communicate with people and struggling to do that. Because like there's this other aspect of Artemis that was definitely kind of more about me, in that because she's lived with wolves and doesn't speak English or anything like that, though she can understand what someone is feeling and like all this sort of stuff by reading their body language and reading their like facial features and stuff like that, she can't actually communicate. She can't say what it is that she is thinking and feeling. And that's kind of like me. That's how I feel to a degree. But it's the fact that I have both. um, but she desperately wants to communicate because she understands, but also doesn't at the same time. So it's like a double-edged sword. I've just got another question on here. Uh, how much wolf research did you do during slash before writing? So for the whole series as a whole, I technically didn't need to do like extra amount of research because I already knew quite a bit about wolves in general. Um, but I did additional things specifically with like rearing of pups and how wolf family dynamics work, especially for like in the case of Way of the Wild. I looked in specifically to the way in which like the matriarch and patriarch of the family, so the mum and dad, work together and how that sort of bonding process is created. Because like a big thing that I introduced for Into the Wild is the idea of soulmates, which technically doesn't exist in wolf packs, but like there is only one couple for a pack, which is the mum and dad of the pack. And every time someone is replaced and like a new like say the mum dies, another couple goes in. It's not usually the partner that's left over. They don't usually always find another partner. Sometimes they do, but it's not that common. So I was kind of looking into those things specifically, of kind of like how packs respond to that, and how in the case of Artemis, like she is a human wolf. She is someone who is part of the pack, but can never really live the life of a wolf. She will never be able to find someone to be a partner because she is a human. And the struggles that will come with that, and the fact that, even though she is a wolf in spirit, her life is so different from everyone else. Like, she will continue to grow older and continue to basically kind of be alone. And I wanted to examine how that would work in terms of a wolf pack, like a wolf that is in a sense separated from the others, and how that kind of works. Because like there are the cases of like lone wolves. It's very uncommon. Though they don't get involved with that sort of thing. Most of the time lone wolves do end up dying because they don't have a pack to support them. And I liked the idea of kind of exploring the idea of a lone wolf within a pack situation, because Artemis is like a super valuable member of the pack, because she helps in this book specifically. We talk about the fact that I explore the fact that Artemis has become so much more of an important member in that she's helping to teach the pups to hunt before they go off to actually join the hunting parties. Because that was definitely a thing that wolf packs have. You know, they all get involved with the raising of pups, but I thought it'd be interesting to have someone specifically almost designated to teaching the pups, because Artemis can't hunt with the pack. So how can she become useful? She can help raise the pup. She can help teach them. And then I wanted to explore the idea of the difficulties that could come of like a wolf wanting to leave the pack who is leaving in an unconventional way, or the idea of like how people would react to someone wanting to leave the pack when there isn't really a reason for them to. There's a lot of wolf packs are very complicated. So I did do research for it, but then I kind of expanded on it in a way to reflect the characterization for Artemis specifically, but then also the way in which the other wolves respond to Artemis, because in comparison to the first book, there is no questioning that happens about her involvement with the pack. Someone just said, "Oh, alienation in her own wolf pack." Yeah, it's not kind of like a full thing of like she's not fully alienated, but it is the fact that she will always be with this pack, which does happen, but there are times where wolves will eventually break off. They'll either raise in the ranks and end up becoming maybe the matriarch, and then the matriarch's partner, or they'll break off to find their own. And the case of Artemis is that she can never break off on her own because she won't have a reason to. The only reason why wolves break off is to find another pack to maybe raise up in the ranks there, or to find a partner and maybe create their own pack. Like, there is no reason for Artemis to leave this pack because she isn't enough of a wolf to have a reason to leave. Because of the fact that she is also human, means that she's almost kind of bound to the pack that, embraced her. There is no way for, like, she's kind of stagnated almost, is kind of how, uh not how I reintroduced her in this book, but it's like an aspect I wanted to explore, of the idea of she's happy with where she is in the pack. She's happy with the roles that she's been given, but you can get this sense of like emptiness from her, of like there's something missing. Um And that was something I was really excited for, because obviously in the first book, a big part of Artemis is that she struggled to feel like she was part of the pack until so many horrible things happened where she was like, yeah, no, the pack is where I'm meant to be. The pack is everything. And she returned to the pack happy, but a hint of the possibility that there was something that she was longing for that wasn't with the pack. Now we return to her 13 years later, and that bit has kind of grown a little bit. And when she and Jamie reunite, which obviously is a big part of this book, it kind of exasperates, that's not the word, it kind of introduces it a little bit more. Um, and I think it's going to be, hopefully it's going to be a really interesting read for people to kind of see the ideas and the ways in which someone who has grown up knowing one way of life so much, but kind of knows that this is all they can have, be introduced with the possibility of something more, and like the complications that come with that. And yeah, there's like so much more additional depth that kind of comes with Way of the Wild, because I explored so many different topics. Like the first book is almost exclusively about identity and um the ability to decide on who you are and know who you are through your own means, but maybe also by external forces. Whereas this has so many additional things of like influences from all sides, the complications of not knowing where you want to belong, the complications of life, and just like there's just this has so there's a lot more in this, and I don't want to say too much because I'm afraid about accidentally spoiling stuff. But there it's why it was probably my favorite book to write, because there's just so much more complexity, I feel, for the relationships in this, because there's the relationships between Artemis and her pack, which has changed since the first book because there are now new wolves involved. But there's also the relationships between Jamie and the group that she's with. So there's her and her best friend Richie, who is based like is inspired from some of my friends in real life as well, specifically Robert, who I don't know if Robert's still on the live stream, but they know Richie was inspired by them. There's also the complicated relationship between Jamie and her dad, and the fact that they have continued to struggle to rebuild their relationship, and you know the complexities in relation to that, and just parent child relationships. And there's a lot of kind of like parent child, or like placebo, not placebo, I can't think of the right word, but like just the family relationships and like complicated family relationships. And then there's also the additional fact that like Jamie's like enemy at her university is also involved with the group going to the forest. Hence the blurbs. With her father, best friend, and frenemy at her side, she strikes out to Swen Forest. And yes, there's a lot of complicated relationships that appear in this story, and it was just so much fun to write, because the first book I really did love writing Home to the Wild. It just obviously it was kind of a lot darker than I think I intended it to be, because there's like moments of like Artemis experienced depression, there's like the abuse that she experiences at the hands of humans. Whereas this one, there are definitely a lot more light-hearted, kind moments, because like Jamie, it's gonna sound so sappy. Oh god, I just hit my microphone. Sorry. Jamie and Artemis are the light that was missing in both of each other's worlds. There was always something missing for both of these people. Like Jamie never stopped thinking about Artemis since she was a child, when she helped rescue her from the humans in the town. And Artemis never stopped thinking about Jamie, because Jamie helped rescue her and she was the first human ever to show her kindness. And they are kind of like this, something that's always stuck with them in all the dark times and all the difficulties that they've experienced. And yeah, there's some things relating to that that I think will be really interesting for people to read, because it's that whole thing of, is the good thing you remembered when you were a child still good when you're older? And I will say no more because spoilers, so go read the book. I don't have the links on the Instagram, but on YouTube they are linked in the description box, so you can go order. It is linked to my bio on Instagram, so you would just have to leave and then come back. But yeah, there is a lot for Way of the Wild, and of course the first book, Home to the Wild, as well. It's just been really nice writing this series. It feels somewhat bittersweet to be coming to the end with this series. Obviously, there's still going to be the final short story. There's a possibility I may do some more stuff in the future, because I'm always kind of coming up with little bits of ideas. But for now, Way of the Wild is the last novel. Oh, hold on, I've got another question. Does Artemis wonder about her biological parents? Not in the books. I don't think I've ever kind of really considered the idea of her thinking about them because even though she knows she's human, Larka and Echo were always her parents. The pack were always her family. Like there was kind of no question for it because the biological parents were never in her life. She never considered them. She never really had a reason to because she was happy with her family. She was, even though she had struggles, she always knew that life in the forest and life with the pack was her life and was who she was. I guess there's the possibility that she could think about it in future. Um, but she kind of gives the vibes to me of just kind of like she has the answers that she has and wants, and knowing who her biological parents are or anything like that isn't something she wants or needs because she has a family and she doesn't need to have questions to answers to questions she could have because the answers for her happiness are where she's already at. Um, but that's actually a really interesting question because I've never thought about it. And because I've never thought about it, Artemis technically never thought about it. But she could eventually, maybe one day, but I don't think she'd ever really be interested in meeting them or knowing about them. Maybe just knowing that they existed somewhere. But beyond that, she like for me, Artemis is the sort of person who she doesn't care about that sort of thing. She cares about those who are present. Like even like in the first book, Sky, who was a wolf who detested Artemis, she still cares about Sky. Like she still has moments of thought in relation to Sky, even though this wolf hated her. She was present in her life. She was around, and no matter like the poor aspects of their relationship, she was present. And for Artemis, being present is the most important. Like it's like the whole thing of like if you show up for someone, that shows that you care, even if you're the sort of person who doesn't actually care about that person. You're there, you've shown up, you've put in the energy. And yeah, Artemis is definitely the sort of person who'd be like, well, they've not shown up. I have no connection. These are the people and you know, the beings that were part of my life. That's all that matters. That was a really long-winded answer of she's never thought about it. Oh, have I got an? Oh, I do have. How are you celebrating release day? Live stream right now, and then I am going to cycle into town to get some sweet treats for myself. Nothing too much because I have not been to the gym this week, but sweet treats, snacky things. So some of my favorite stuff like Haribo and things like that because I can't get enough of sweets. And yeah, so lots of sweet treats. I would have gotten cake, but I think that's a bit much because no one else is going to eat it. Uh, and then just chill. Watch some of my favorite movies, maybe as well, to kind of end the day on a high and try not to write. That is the goal for today, is to try and not do any other writing or any other books. Just let this be about Way of the Wild. This is the day just for Way of the Wild and the Into the Wild series because this is the release day. It shouldn't be about anything else. But we'll see how well that goes. That is the intention. Sweet treats. Maybe it's going to sound really lame. Maybe read my book as well because it's been a while since I've kind of read it just for the enjoyment of reading. Well, at the same time, I may not because knowing me, I'll see something that annoys me and be like, oh, I wish I'd changed that. So maybe not read it today. And then chill with some definitely queer sapphic movies. And yeah, just have a good time. I think it's going to be the goal for celebrating the release and then try not to work, which, if anyone knows me, is not possible. I will be working at some point. Technically, I actually already have. I've been revising a book today. Should I have been? No, I was meant to be taking a break, but it happened. But I will chastise myself for that later by eating a bunch of sweets. Uh, but yeah, I think that's all. I don't think I've got anything further, unless anyone has like any other questions either on YouTube or Instagram. I think I would just end the release because I'm gonna go and get those sweets and party favors. Well, not party favors. It's just sweets and chocolate and stuff like that because yeah, celebrations. Um, but yes, if you are an enjoyer of adventure, found family, Tarzan, but make it gay, or just slow burn romances and things like that, Way of the Wild is out in the world right now. It is the second book in the Into the Wild series, with the first book being Home to the Wild. If you actually want to get both books right now on Kindle, uh, Home to the Wild is 99p for the Kindle ebook, with Way of the Wild being $4.99. So you can get both books for £6 or $7. So if you want to read both, you can do so for £6 or $7. And if you want to get all of the short stories out right now as well, you can do that and get them for, I think it is $9 and £8, because all the short stories are 99p. So enjoy the Into the Wild series. Be sure to leave reviews. This is a big thing I gotta say, because it's the best way to support specifically indie authors is leaving reviews on Goodreads, Amazon specifically as well. Amazon and Goodreads are basically the main reviewing platforms. And they're the main way for other people to find books. So if you buy a copy, if you've read it already, be sure to leave reviews on Goodreads and Amazon. But wherever you get your books as well, if you're buying them on Waterstones, leave reviews there. If you're buying them on Apple Books, leave reviews there, etc., etc. But yes, the Into the Wild series by me is out with only one story left, which is a short story coming in November. So thank you. I can't wait to read. I really hope you enjoy, because I did. Which is I mean, it's good that I enjoy it, because it'd be bad if I didn't enjoy my own work. But yes, I hope you will enjoy. I hope you all have a great rest of your day as well. And thank you all for joining this broadcast. And I may stay longer on Instagram, actually, just because my laptop is being weird. So yes, I will say goodbye now on YouTube. Thank you all for tuning in here on YouTube. I appreciate it. Links in the description, and I will see you. Oh God, I will see you next time.